Bring in Javier Farje, who's a Latin America analyst. He joins me from London. Welcome, Javier. So, I mean, the US says this is about stopping drug smugglers, so you can understand why they want to attack. But are they allowed to do this? Is this in international waters or is this in Venezuelan territory?
It's international waters, but they haven't shown us any proof that is the case. Secondly, they haven't shown us any evidence that this bombing happened to hit drug traffic. They haven't shown any evidence. Earlier this week, 24 senators from the Democratic Party sent a letter to the president asking him, first of all, about the legality of this attack, and second, why didn't actually they capture the boat, seize the drug, arrested the crew, and interrogate them? That they wanted to know what is the intelligence that the government had to be able to do this. And they haven't shown any evidence that this was the case. Furthermore, there's something else. Experts reckon that in order to be able to go from Venezuela to the United States via the Caribbean Sea, the boat has to be extremely big and extremely powerful because the route is very dangerous. It doesn't make any sense that a small boat with drugs would sail there. And another element is that most of the drugs that are sent from South America to the United States goes via the Pacific. 80%, according to the United Nations drug report, go to the Pacific because the Caribbean is not a very good route. Only 10% of that goes there. And the other element is that he blames a criminal gang called Tren de Aragua. Tren de Aragua is a multinational Venezuelan crime syndicate that does very little drugs. They do other activities like extortion and human trafficking and all that. So these bombings, these 4 bombings, make absolutely no sense in terms of fighting the drugs. And also, it has alienated some critics of Maduro who are prepared to defend Venezuela, like the case of Colombia, for example.
Why does Maduro seem so threatened by the US actions?
Because of all the display of military sort of equipment in the Caribbean. Only earlier this week, war planes were sent to Puerto Rico. Second, they don't understand why they are concentrated. The United States is concentrated its fight against drugs in the Caribbean, when most of the drugs go from ports in Peru, Colombia, and Ecuador. It doesn't make any sense in terms of fighting the drug traffic. So they feel, and these actions many Venezuelans feel that this is an act of intimidation by the United States because it doesn't make any sense to fight drugs in the Caribbean Sea so close to the coast of Venezuela. And without proving any evidence, because they haven't shown any evidence that these boats were indeed taking drugs, were indeed coming from Venezuela. And there's nothing there that suggests that this was the case. So unless the Trump administration provides all the information related to the reasons why they have attacked this boat and the proof they have that they carry drugs, the suspicion will remain.
Just very quickly, Javier, we've got less than a minute. The US clearly doesn't like President Maduro, the US administration. They've called him a direct threat to national security. Do you link the two? Is this to antagonize someone they don't like?
Well, yes. I mean, they accuse Maduro of belonging to some kind of obscure, amorphous sort of drug gang. Once again, they haven't provided any evidence that this is the case. The opposition in Venezuela is very divided in relation to that, but the most radical members keep on using the same kind of rhetoric that Trump uses, the narco-terrorism of the state. It's the same kind of words that they use. So the suspicion that Venezuela is in the verge of being invaded is there. Most analysts agree that the invasion will not happen because it will be very counterproductive. And Venezuela has been preparing for this invasion for many, many years. So in that respect, it's difficult to invade, but looks like it's an act of intimidation in relation to Venezuela because of the hostility that President Trump has towards Venezuela, even though they need the Venezuelan oil. But there is this big element of intimidation in relation to Venezuela.
Javier, we'll have to wrap it up there. Thank you. Javier Farje, Latin America analyst.
Thank you very much.